Hey, it's Steve, the guardrail guy. It's weird when I'm not making a video. I know. I'll give it a try. Um, I just had a sense on this guardrail here on Nayland Drive. That's the University of Tennessee right up here. But it was going to be ugly. So far today, I had 74 locations. Well, nobody's joined us yet, so I'll just I'll see if anyone's. Anyway, so it's Steve, the guardrail guy. That's the University of Tennessee. I got to figure out how to flip this. So that's. Hey, Connor. That's the University of Tennessee up there, and the water is very muddy. There's some huge logs out there. We had a horrible storm yesterday. Hey, Ryan and Dundu. That's US 129, the bridge over the Tennessee River. Anyways, I've been walking this state highway here, and nice to meet you too, Chris. It's weird for me to go live because you're just self-conscious, at least when I'm shooting a short. I can edit it so I don't sound dumb. Anyways, I'll take you up here to this guardrail again. There's the University of Tennessee entrance, and the first thing I'd show is like this is extraordinarily low. Hey, and if you have a question, please. That's just about 24 inches to the top. And this is a great example of something I have found recently where I think I'm seeing a cluster of deaths. We have a repair up there to Escat guardrail, and this is 24 inches, so you can see that vehicle that just came by. It can mount this guardrail, and comes up here, and we have made a repair, but it's basically a built-in turn down, so we're flipping vehicles over, which is a huge problem, and I'm seeing a lot of fatalities trending that way. Well, thanks for the kind comment, Don. Hey, Steve, you're a man. Learned so much through your knowledge and insight. Thanks. I'm going to butcher these names, but Zuluun, love you, sir. Glad you're making a difference. Thanks. I'll show you this too. Let's go look at this. You may see this on the side of the interstate. The same characteristic pattern, and it's all down through this guardrail. And that guardrail's compromised now, but it's what causes that is the lug nut on a truck tears it, then it tears it again, the next one, and tears it, and that's why you get that perfect pattern. But so why are you going live as opposed to a short? Because I'm trying to pressure the governor. This is the University of Tennessee Nayland Stadium, where the University of Tennessee plays football, and we had College Game Day here from ESPN, I think 3 times last year. It's right up here, and I found 74 missing bolts and probably 300 to 400 loose bolts, which effectively are missing. And so I have been badgering Mark Nagy with TDOT, and I've got a handler over there by the name of Ben. He's a great guy. Commercial lighting supply. Anyways, Senator Massey's been a huge help, and but I'm trying to bring pressure on the governor, because we're going to have hundreds of thousands of people descend on this road here in the next little bit. Morrell at Westland, there's a one-end concrete bridge that used to have a rail to redirect. They took it out in 2019. I'll take a look. Go Vols. Thank you for your work. Steve, were you in Knoxville for the storms this year? Yes, I was at the Publix at University of Commons. There's a ton of bolts missing. Yep, the lug nuts did that, but there are a ton of bolts missing on brand new stuff. The old stuff I somewhat understand. There was a different culture back then. But the new stuff right at University Commons, that's terrifying. But I'm trying to bring pressure against Governor Lee to, I need TDOT to spend somewhere in the neighborhood of probably $1.5 to $2.5 million, because all the way up through here is guardrail that's very old and obsolete, very low, missing bolts, just this kind of hodgepodge of stuff together. And I'm going to walk down the rail back towards, I'll show you the worst of it. It's one spot is just absolutely terrifying. How do improvements, should we need to pressure anyone? Yes. 615-741-2001. Call Governor Lee, hit him up on Twitter and Facebook. Hit it at mytdot on Facebook or Twitter. And this is unacceptable. I mean, here, the entrance to the University of Tennessee, and we have a BCT terminal, and this has been considered functionally obsolete since the 1950s. It cannot pass any crash testing standard, whether it's MASH 2016, 2009, or NCHRP report 350. I gotta show you this. You know, I grumble and complain about that right there is facing backwards, so it's gonna snag you. But that can't pass anything. It didn't pass 230, which is a 14-year-old standard. How do improvements to fix this guardrail affect motorcycle safety? Oh man, one of the hard things for me is motorcycle crashes, because guardrail and motorcycles don't mix. But what I can tell you is there's like one guy out in Utah DOT that's really pushing it, but the Transportation Research Board has had their semi-annual meeting. The annual meeting is in DC. But one thing that this fellow at Utah and myself have been pushing for is guardrail crash testing involving a motorcycle and either a pig or a cadaver, because motorcyclists make up about 3% of our vehicle fleet, but about 30+% of our fatalities. And I hate the summer because every day it's like 3 to 5 motorcyclists seem to be dead hitting guardrails. So how are we going to protect them? I have no idea. The plastic slide guards at specific points, I think, would prevent interaction with the posts and would be a good step. The crash testing of guardrail posts with a bike and either a cadaver or a pig, you can't fix the problem if you don't even acknowledge it exists. And the big thing I think with motorcyclists too, we've got to get over is culturally we kind of look at motorcyclists as subversive versus, you know, people have an inherent transcendent value because, you know, they bear the image of God and they're worth fighting for, they're worth saving. And as far as our ability to save them, I don't know how we're going to do it, but if we don't try, we're not going to do any of them. I'm going to walk down here. I want to show you this one because that's the University of Tennessee Medical Center. Oh, North Carolina. There's a state safety engineer over there. Is probably the worst single bureaucrat that I have dealt with anywhere in the United States. I recently did a story at WCNC related to Frankenstein guardrail. So mismatched rail and head, a total found 18 in North Carolina doing searches for about 26. And his response was, we don't know how long he's been looking. This is the same guy that back in 2011 actually turned a safety advocate into the board of engineering in pure First Amendment retaliation. He said he was trying to practice engineering without a license, and Kevin retaliated against him by okay, sorry, is that better? The audio's hard to hear, but anyways, Kevin retaliated against that advocate for speaking out. And so back in 2019, I shared information with the governor of North Carolina and with Kevin, and pretty soon I was facing a criminal contempt court charge. The threat, and it never went anywhere because it was completely bogus. But I had shared details. I had gone out and measured guardrails, and I had covered a secret spearing test, and it appears that Kevin just kind of turned it over to this billion-dollar corporation, and all of a sudden I was facing the threat of criminal contempt charges. Unfortunately, Boyce Schiller and Flexner, which is a big, massive international law firm, represented me pro bono, and we got kicked out. But I do not like North Carolina. The state safety engineer, when I did that story, he just said, well, we don't see this as an opportunity cost. I think he attended one too many Tony Robbins conferences. But I won't even post. I would never go live in North Carolina because of fear of retaliation. I turn stuff in over there, and they just don't fix it. They hide behind what's called contributory negligence, meaning if you got up that morning and you're 1% at fault for your crash, you're 100% at fault. So sorry, I'm going to flip this around. So, anyways, you're an inspiration, brother. Well, thanks. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me about North Carolina. Their bureaucrats are nasty. Yeah, I've never encountered anyone so vicious. So anyways, there's the University of Tennessee vet school, very good vet school. Bolt is missing. That bolt is loose. That bolt is loose, which is effective as no bolt at all. Again, missing bolt, loose bolt, and missing bolt. And I found missing 74. Barely about 4 inches bigger than my cell phone, so about 24 inches rail height. I want to go down here because I want to show you this. Right up here where it says University Gardens, I got to show you override where it got on top of the guardrail. So anyways, I normally do shorts. I can speak in 60-second sound bites. All right, so can we talk about the installation of handrails on guardrails and how it has affected the MSKT over here? So in Florida, I see handrails, and that's like a rail, especially in Florida. They'll put a handrail here. You can see there's a fellow walking my way. There's a tear right there. Sorry, I get distracted. But a handrail within the terminal length. There was a crash just recently in Oklahoma where an individual went off the side of the interstate and hit what was the top of the rail, and it went right through the car and right through him, and he was killed. So any handrail within that first 50 feet is it can impale you, and it is ugly. I mean, I worked EMS, and I worked EMS, and I worked in the emergency room, and I mean, those are ugly crashes that you don't soon forget, and that's honestly one of the things that after we lost Hannah, I always say it's better to be humble than be humbled. I didn't believe in stuff like PTSD or all that stuff because I had worked around this stuff. But then what happened to her, and then what I've seen what these handrails and guardrails can do, I mean, it's horrific. I have never. It's like an IED. We had a young kid that grew up in our family, Johnny Golden. It's Nathan, Sergeant Nathan Golden. But he went to Iraq with the Navy, didn't see the action that he wanted to see, so he joined the Army and ended up being killed in action in Afghanistan by a suicide bomber. And it's astonishing to me when I see like what a handrail or guardrail can do, a safety device. Here in the United States, my daughter's injuries were honestly the same as Johnny's injuries. How can a safety device on America's roadways do that? Sorry, let's take a look. Anyways, with the number of loose bolts, I'm surprised they don't use washers. And there are some simple self-locking bolt devices that would avoid the looseness. Yeah, one of the things that I want to do is the Wiley lab, they've changed the name of it, but down in, it was the NASA lab. It has a shaker table. I'd love to study this issue and set up the models and shake the snot out of guardrail models and see whether it's Loctite or one of the self-locking bolt designs, what would be best, and then crash test those, say at the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. But they have to do something, because I found bolts that came out on guardrails above 395 headed into the Capitol, and it's ugly. Okay, so the gaming warehouse. If you ever cross through Kentucky, I think you'll find that just about every guardrail is bad. And I would agree. With that one. Alex, I'm training to be a home inspector right now. Seeing you give these the once over they deserve is a great service, and I'll do my best if you do too. Thank you. The gaming warehouse, PTSD is real. For 20 plus years, I thought it was BS. Yep, exactly. You don't want to. It's better to be humble than be humble. So here we have an old guardrail. I'm going to take you through this. I'm going to watch my back. I'm down here. We have those washers, and I had a beautiful, really ugly crash. It's a perfect example, the best one I've ever seen, just up the road here yesterday. So here, they thing is just a total joke. I think I walked past where I wanted to show you. Is low. I've never done this live thing. It's windy out there, and that's why. So I am going to try to talk a little closer to the mic. Keep yelling at me if the audio gets bad again. I'm looking for that one spot where the guardrail mounted, or where it mounted the guardrail. But anyways, it's kind of like when I go get a haircut. I have to say, stop wiggling, stop looking the other way. So if you have to keep telling me, talk into the mic, I'll talk into the mic. Okay, so we're back to that battle snag. There's something we can do for motorcyclists is make sure our bolts are facing inwards. It's not a pretty crash regardless, but that can be the difference between living or dying. I gotta tell you, I've got a video. I don't know. Speaking of motorcyclists, my friends at Safety Vids, their website or their YouTube is at Traffic Cams. They also they're on Twitter at Safety Vid. They're sending me live guardrail crashes, but I have a motorcycle crash that unfortunately the guy got up and walked away. Having worked EMS, he was riding a wheelie through Madison, Wisconsin on the interstate and just went end over end. And one of the things is, having the wisdom of what to share and what not to share, but it's one of those videos I'd love to share, but I don't know quite how, because it's not gratuitous. But one of the things I want to do is I don't want to be posting what I call pain porn. I want people to learn from it, and I hope that somebody would see that video and maybe change the way they ride. Because one of the best things we can do, whether it's a guardrail hit or a motorcycle crash, is, well, as far as it is up to me, if I'm 1% responsible, work on 100% of my 1%. But anyways, I've got a handful of videos like that I just not quite sure what to do with them. I just looked up the self-locking washers that are called hard locking. YouTuber. I'll have to check that out. Chris, would you mind sending that to my email? It's in my about, sjeimers@yahoo.com. Lost 4 people on bikes in 5 years. All other people hitting them. That's what I have a video of a left in front that I didn't share, and I just wanted to get a baseball bat and smack the snot out of the driver because it was horrible. So here we're missing a bolt. That's the UT Gardens. Those two are okay, but they're kind of rusty. But this bolt here is loose and backwards, and loose and backwards, and loose and backwards. But yeah, so that right there could potentially tear up a motorcyclist. But a lot of times, like you say, Gaming Warehouse, it's what do you do about the left in front? These are people who just don't even keep an eye out for motorcyclists. And I think that our culture, and I even sometimes find myself, our culture can see motorcyclists as subversive, or they just they don't like them, so they act like those lives don't matter. I'll return that call a little bit later. I actually thought of passing some this morning. The thing is, you can pass a guardrail and just pass it and pass it and pass it several times and figure out what's the issue using Google Street View, and then figure out the owner. And even if it takes a month to get all that done, you know, my daughter didn't hit. Hannah didn't hit 1,000 guardrails. She hit one, and I mean, one of the things at the Holocaust Memorial Museum in D.C., there's a proverb, a Jewish proverb, and it says, if you save one life, you save the world. And you know, had there been a different device where Hannah crashed, I believe she would be alive today. So even if like Neil, as you're saying, I actually thought of you passing some this morning. If you could get just one fixed, what if that's the one that matters? You know, I haven't shared this video yet. Hey, hello from Massachusetts. We seem to have some good guardrails here. I'm gonna, yeah, you have some good guardrails, but in a case can folks satisfactory conclusion. So we'll leave that comment right there. So hello from Massachusetts. Check out some of my old stories from Channel 5 in Boston. We'll flip this around. But anyways, just get one guardrail fixed. All right, audio low again. Thank you. Thank you. So here we have old guardrail, and then we have a repair. And again, so we're going from the old nominal height of 27. You can see the steel damage. There's a pocket there, and you can very easily mount this drill. And now we have a repair. And 31 inches. Building ramps into guardrails. And we'll get to that. You get a audio is still busted, Steve. Is it any better when I talk directly into the phone? I'm on the roadside too, so it's very difficult. I sometimes am yelling when I am on the phone. So, all right, so I'm gonna talk loudly. And okay, so I did find it. Here's the UT Gardens over here. Very beautiful gardens. And so we come down here fairly often. I have 10 kids, 6 of them adopted. And one of the things like, if we're doing a birth family visit or a first family visit, I like coming down here because I just found that like this kinetic kind of moving about through this garden was much more therapeutic than some of our other visits. But anyways, never had the gawk suction pump stalls. I have no idea. Tons better when you said, is it any better when I talk directly into the phone? The difference sounds like the microphone gets covered up or it doesn't switch to the speakerphone mode. Okay, sorry about that. So here we have a hit. They came in here. You can see right here. It mounts the rail and it gets up on top. And there's the river. And you can see there, it just rides on top and squashes that. I moved this off the thing earlier. We had a horrible storm here yesterday, but I just so it's just riding. The vehicle's like on top of this guardrail, just riding and deciding whether it's going to flip over here or stay on the road. And it just stays up here. And finally, it went back out onto the road. But that right there, that is why we really need to invest in MGS rail. You know, the reason we don't invest in MGS rail? You want to know the reason we don't invest in MGS rail? Because there are no licensing fees. There are no billion-dollar corporations out there pressing for it. It's just generic rail that you can buy and install that way. And so there's over 1,000 deaths annually involving guardrail. About 20% of those occur in the first 10 feet. But 80% of them occur in the middle. It occurs in the middle. And nobody's pushing for repairs here, but yeah, there's a famous bank robber, and he said, "Why do you rob banks?" Forget what his name was. He was up in Connecticut, and he said, "Because that's where the money is, and if you're gonna rob victims, you gotta go where the victims are." And so we've got to study motorcycle and guardrail, and we need to study mid-rail hits and invest in the mid-rail, because that's where the victims are. If we're going to steal victims, we have to study the middle. Well, that one's crushed. Let's measure that. 17 inches from the road to the top of that rail, and that's the Tennessee River. If you hit that, you are going in the river. You're going in the river. Oh, I got to show you this. But this one, I'm going to have to watch my back because I don't like being up here on the bridge. Even though I have the shoulder, I can't. Anyways, let's walk up here. I'll probably walk through this area here. Wow. have... Y'all, that's a first. I've never seen that. Let me flip that back around. That is the world's tallest... That's the world's tallest guardrail post. That's worse than the Ohio wood post. Good grief. There's your splice. You got the post over here. They just use that. They just use a telephone pole. I get some folks who think I faked these videos. You think I faked putting in that telephone pole, folks? I let the naysayers get to me a little once in a while. Anyways, let's keep walking. That's just crazy. See, that's why we need to replace all several miles of guardrail here. Let's walk up here. Again, just those terrible splice bolts, low rail. There's your river. At first I thought they bolted it to a live tree. Don't give them any ideas, please. They will. Hey, and I'm not trying to be critical of Tennessee. Tennessee, to be candid, is probably, they probably average a D-, but they're in the top 10% of states in the country, which should scare the daylights out of you. Anyways, let's walk up here, because I'm gonna kind of walk backwards. I'll let you face forward. There's a turtle. Oh, he's gone. So this is Third Creek, and we'll go across the street here in a second. But they have, and there's a crash out down in Florida involving a rail like this. Hey Ryan, thanks for that video and that one. But there was a rail like this and a curb, and it mounted the curb and went right over into the water. So here, and I'm gonna face forward, you can see this one is missing. I gotta zoom out. One bolt, two bolts, 3, 4, the others are all loose. But let's come down here. Yeah, I'm watching my back. I hate being up here, but this is probably some of the worst, other than the ones that aren't bolted at all. But there's Third Creek. There's all your garbage. Sorry, that guy was coming at me. 1 bolt, 2 bolts, 3 bolts, 4 bolts, 5 bolts completely missing. These ones are barely connected. And the rail height, we have a 6-inch, 5-inch curb, and then about 4 inches to the guardrail and 17 to the top. And we have an unbolted rail, and you're going right into the Tennessee River. It's hard not to get mad when you lost your daughter from people not doing their job correctly, even if they're not trained at all. Yeah, it is. And it's hard. And the thing is, I sat through a federal court trial last year. They came to a, quote, satisfactory conclusion. And what's hard is you're sitting in a room with people who are literally monsters, not literally, figuratively. Anyways, you can pull the court transcripts where they admit, one of them admits to hundreds of spearings. It was weird because Perry Mason doesn't happen in real life. And during open court, I stood up. My wife said, sit down, because I thought the person was having a stroke. And you can pull the court transcripts. I gotta be careful. So anyways, let's flip this around. So here we have an unanchored blunt end. It's on the trailing end, but I can't tell you how many fatalities. You'll probably hit the tree first or the telephone pole. But I can't tell you how many fatalities I have documented involving unanchored blunt ends. And we've known since 1964. And I have a Popular Science article from 1961 that said these were dangerous. And they're still killing people today. So I'm going to pause here. There's Knox County Sheriff. I'm gonna just watch this road and wait for a nice. Oh, good grief! Watch where you're going. I've had two people. One of them was one of those big diesel trucks that tried to gas me, but came within like a foot intentionally of just trying to scare me. But anyways, let's walk up here, because this is there's an MSKT on the trailing end, which I appreciate it, but there's approach traffic. And again, we have a concrete bridge, and I think somebody was talking about a concrete bridge. This is essentially an exposed. It's okay, we understand. Yeah, thank you. I don't want to. Anyways, this is a guardrail that has 4 feet of lateral deflection, and that is a concrete barrier with no inches of lateral deflection. And so if you hit, it's readily foreseeable. And this was a problem that was really bad in the 70s, 80s, and very early 90s in the US. And when I started monitoring crashes in Brazil is when I saw, whoa, that is real. Probably one of the best safety features that we have is the bridge transitions, where the posts get incrementally tighter till they're about a foot apart, and then usually it's a thriving transition, because a ton of people used to die hitting right here at what was called the coffin corner. And so this is one of the few locations on a Tennessee DOT maintained road where I've ever seen that. We need to get you a long safety stick. I need to learn how to shoot better audio and video and all that. I just started posting stuff, and I couldn't believe that people actually watched it. But anyways, that's your coffin corner. I'd like to see that fixed. There's a handrail. It's kind of on the other side. I'm gonna let this runner come through, and then we'll go look at that BCT terminal. But there's the Tennessee River. Anyways, that's the University of Tennessee Medical Center, our level 1 trauma center way over there. So at least if you hit something right here, you can get to the hospital within that golden hour. So let's take a look at this. We have an MSKT up here. There's a lot of recreational traffic here. So here again we have, and it's just for approach traffic, but this is a coffin corner without any kind of bridge transition. How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
All right, thanks.
They're paying you the big bucks.
I don't know about that. You too. So here we have an MSKT. You can see when I talked about post, and then we'll skip up here, mid-rail splices, and that's what kind of keeps you tucked up against the rail. So here we have the MSKT, and let's see, the post, second post. I'll talk about that second post in a minute. Always check these. A little bit of garbage in there. There's your impact head. Let me zoom back out. There's your impact head. And the MSKT is easily identified because it says SKT. Now, I'll tell you what. I wish they would remove that SKT right there. I don't like it. Or I wish they would take it from there and move it down here. I just think it weakens the head right there. And I like the big boxy head. You know, let me zoom back out. Sorry about that. Because when I worked as a nurse and I worked in EMS, I saw where people fell out of a tree. If you landed on your feet, you ended up with compression fractures all the way up your spine. But with the big, if you landed on your side, you just got the wind knocked out of you. So I like that big boxy head. I think it controls the vehicle a little better. Sometimes as the vehicle impacts this and maybe is moving in this kind of direction or that kind of direction, towards the tail end of the crash, that can kind of hinge. And anytime there's a hinge, something bad could happen. But I tell you what, I'd give $1 million right now to see, that's 19, that's 20. I wish they would have, see, that's one thing I also don't like. I wish they would have done the 20 by 20 like they did with the old ones. But I'd give $1 million right now just for the chance of Hannah hitting this device than the one she hit. Got a trauma helicopter coming into the University of Tennessee. So anyways, the bearing plate here, proper orientation. It's a little on the loose side, but better than some. Here's something to watch out for. I want to read some of these in a minute, but some contractors, there's kind of like this is 6 foot deep into the ground, and you can't just pound on that. You have a special post attachment pounder, and you cannot pound the snot out of this or you'll damage it. And some people just beat it to fit and paint it to match, but you wouldn't want that for your loved ones. This ground strut is very important in transferring load to the anchor over there. And let's see here. There are miles of brief and cable barrier being installed this summer in my state, but on the outside shoulders of our highway is nothing but blunt end guardrails. Hopefully we see change soon. The blunt end is a terrible, terrible guardrail. We have care, kids. We care, we sympathize. Thank you. Let's move down here. So I'll show you what I think is the biggest issue with this device. So before we get there, here's those shoulder bolts. And you can see that's why this is important. This thing just kind of sits on there and it gets knocked off when that impact head moves down the rail. This post right here, the top of it, that's where your problem is with this device. At least with the installation of this device. I keep screwing that thing up. Let's get this back to... Alright, so there we go. And I don't know if it's an issue with the installation instructions or they're just laying the whole thing out and pounding it and not measuring twice. But that post, you have to get it straight. I always joke about how it's like LeBron James, but in an end-on hit, it's got to just flop over. I won't do it because I could probably do it. I just kick that sucker over like that. But in some states, what I'm seeing this post getting in at crazy angles, like 20 degrees forward, or they're field drilling holes and locking it in place, and that's terrible. But that post right there is where probably 90% of the installation errors involving this system are occurring right there. And here's something that I would like to see. It's one of the reasons I really like this big Esket is the posts. So you have frangible posts or breakable posts that are very weak, 1 and 2 here. Same with the soft stop, but then you get to post 3, and these are just regular I-beam posts. And what happens is the vehicle, especially the smaller car, knocks the first one over, then knocks the second one over, and then they progressively create a ramp. And I saw Eric Emerson, who is with WisDOT up in Wisconsin, he mapped this perfectly on a test 12 of the X-Lite, and he just showed how they were essentially creating a ramp within the guardrail, and what it is, I would like to see frangible posts all the way through post 8 on every device, have it written into mesh as a performance standard. You are expected to provide frangible posts, because I think we're going to see better outcomes there. There go a couple motorcycles right now. Anyways, let's walk this way, and I'll show you a couple more. There's a swing gate up there. It's not fastened. One of the things that I do with my videos, and it's already happened, is sometimes they listen to me. A lot of times they listen to me. I've gotten close to $200 million worth of guardrails replaced. Disney just spent like $13.5 million. So a lot of people listen to me. But some people don't. And when they don't, what I do is I'm trying to prepare legal notice so that if something bad does happen, and I'll even write emails to key people, but they're addressed to the future victim or the victim's lawyer, and say they were on notice and they did nothing. So what I'm trying to do is create a situation where, 1, that deposition is going to be a nightmare, and 2, it shows prior notice, and I'm hoping to draw on punitive damages, because $25 million or $50 million worth of punitive damages goes a long way to changing behaviors. So here we have another BCT terminal on an approach end. It's frustrating though. You have a trailing end MASH terminal up here and a 50-year-old terminal up here on the. But anyway, so it's about creating legal notice and getting these guys on notice. I'm gonna cross again. I don't like crossing, but and basically hammering them if something bad happens. And the reason, what got me on this was PennDOT got sued in a case called Kagi versus Commonwealth. I need to work on the not hearing thing. I don't know if maybe I could do it with a wireless lavalier or something. If anyone who does live streams has an idea, let me know, because Hannah was my tech person. She actually worked on Burt Reynolds' final movie and had original artwork in the trailer even before her death. So it wasn't like they felt sorry for the girl that died. No, she had original artwork in that movie. Became close friends with Ariel Winter, the director. She had an internship set up at Marvel Studios, so she was extraordinarily talented. We got to meet Burt before he died. Anyways, that was kind of cool, but it was just bittersweet. I'm the only guy that goes to the theater and gets upset when Phil Fulmer, his big pumpkin head, gets in the middle of my picture just as I'm taking a photo of Hannah's credit. I'm next to this factory and it's super loud, but anyways, trying to talk as loud as I can. Let me flip this around. So anyways, Hannah got a credit in Burt Reynolds' final movie and The Last Movie Star. But she was my tech person who would have helped me with these problems. Anyways, I got to figure out some way to deal with the mic issue. So if anyone has an idea, again, email me. So I much prefer a gate like this. It's on the chain rather than off the chain. Anyways, we'll come up here. We're gonna go by the sewage factory or the sewage treatment plant. It smells, but it's got some of the worst guardrails you'd ever want to see. I mean, they're terrible. So up here are a couple more swing gates, and yesterday, like afternoon, we got hammered, and it's that kind of storm that could actually cause one of these swing gates to swing shut or halfway shut. And see, there's a wire that's down right there. There were wires down everywhere yesterday. Took me like an extra hour and a half to get home. There's a swing gate that's just kind of sitting open. But anyway, so we had a lot of some wicked storms here in Tennessee. But I've got coming up here several interesting things. Again, the University of Tennessee, there's the practice field. There's actually some loose bolts, or I could take a picture through the loose bolts and get a picture of Thompson Bowling Arena where the basketball team plays. So, USA Concrete. I thought this was kind of ironic. Here's USA Concrete. Their swing gates, unsecured, and then all their safety rules and how safety first, all that nonsense is on the wall here. But before you even get there, their swing gates are not secure. Nice vlog, LOL. From Canada. Hey. So, one of the things people say, does Canada have the same problem? For the most part, yes. I think Ontario does a pretty good job. But it has to do with a very specific person who experienced a very specific loss, and his loss, I think, has informed his career with MTO. Probably my favorite highway safety official in the world. Anyways, but we'll take a look here. Several things that make me mad up here. But the first thing is we have a BCT terminal, and it wasn't bad enough. They basically, after years and years of paving, now it's on the ground because they just have backfilled and backfilled and backfilled, and now we have a BCT terminal and essentially a turn down. And so we'll just walk down this way because it just gets worse. It just gets worse and worse. Let's see what this wire. Somebody just did that. It's not holding it up, but I actually had a guardrail in New York that was holding the guardrail together. It was just wire holding it together. So that right there, that kind of damage, it can be difficult to get them to actually fix it, but they should. It should be fixed. That's classified under NCHRP report 6 something or another as major damage, or high priority damage, I think. Well, let's walk back down here. I'll tell you another thing, and I've taken this to the University of Nebraska. They have some interest in it. I don't know why, but these wood blockouts and the polymer blockouts should be interchangeable. But I am seeing a pattern of deaths that's ugly right there, at mixed blockouts. And it could just be because those are high frequency impact locations, or there could be something there. I don't know what happened here, but that's ugly. Anyways, let's keep going. So we have a mash tested SPIG SCAD up here. One of the things that's real important with the SPIG, a key difference between the SPIG and the MSKT, both extruding terminals, but this is the MGS rail here, where you'd normally pick up a mid-rail splice, and that's for the SCAD. Is at the tail end is the MGS rail, versus with the SPIG. So the SPIG, it's at the tail end. With the SCAD, it's the second rail. Looks like they painted this one. They painted this one. Check that out. They painted this. So when I first started my channel, wow. Some folks came forward and said, hey, we had a contractor that was reusing guardrails. So in Tennessee, you can't do this. And maybe it didn't happen here, but that is, oh my, that's overspray, and that is spray painted. They said they'd carry a thing in the truck, and they would just, because you could save like $600 or $700, $800 by reusing that. I'm gonna report that because somebody spray painted that. I don't know if it's been reused. There's actually, let me, sorry. Check out that. There should be something there that's not. RFID tag is there. That stuff's there. I just think this guardrail may have been reused, but no one will tell me for sure. But I'm pretty sure there's a... Are there any systems out there that can be retrofitted with a system like SKP or Trinity? Or does it end up being a total replacement of the system? Can an old guardrail be retrofitted? Not really. It's generally but just bad things can happen when you try post spaced properly. It just, the right post there, it just, bad things can happen. You can see here, here's another BCT terminal that's basically buried as a turn down. So no, but that doesn't keep states from doing it. A lot of people are just putting the first rail of an SKP with post 1 and 2, and just a very bad idea. Very bad idea. But let's keep walking. Like I said, I probably will stop with the live. I would like feedback, because I don't, even with the shorts, to be candid, I just started and I didn't know what I was doing. I just posted stuff and all of a sudden 60 million people watched it. That's pretty lovely. So if I should do more lives, I clearly have got to do something with the sound quality here. But any feedback would be appreciated, because I just don't necessarily know exactly what I'm doing with the tech side of stuff. So up here we have a blunt end, and it's all the way across the traffic lot. There's a boat ramp here, so there's going to be people that make that turn. And we'll take a look here. And no parking anytime, including on game days. First of all, light bulb missing. Those two are loose. So it's not as bad. We've got a blunt end and an unbolted rail. Can't hear you with all that. Sorry, I'm turning that back on. So there's our boat ramp. Can you hear me better? Well, I'll show it in a video. There's a post up here that's just crazy stupid. What they've done. To me, what I'm about to show you, it makes me so angry. So angry, because it's so disrespectful. Here in a second, I'll show you. But here's a BCT terminal. Again, not crash worthy for 50 years. That bearing plate, let's go take a look here, is exactly upside down. 5 inches on the bottom, 3 inches on the top, and that can snag. And with a small vehicle, it's very difficult to release. There's some loose cable in there. Then we got a telephone pole right there within the terminal. We got that within the terminal. So if you do gate here, you're gonna hit that or that. You're gonna die. Speaking of gating, there's a new terminal that should hopefully get its approval here within the next couple weeks. Dr. Sicking, who invented the safer barrier after Dale Earnhardt, has invented a new terminal, and it's non-gating, so it doesn't allow the vehicle to pass behind the guardrail 200, 300 feet. And this can be used at locations where you maybe don't have the runoff that you would run out area that you would like. So I have an area. What's really cool, I haven't made the video yet. I've talked about it, but Dean gave me his. See, Dr. Sicking gave me his very first NGP to be installed where Johnny thinks was gated. He hit a improperly bolted SKT 350 I don't know. Where is my mic? I might be doing that. So here is resting in the arms of the father. And so a roadside memorial. And it's a faded out photo, but this is, somebody died right here. And take a look at this. This is how they maintain it. Can you get more disrespectful than that? Can you get more disrespectful than this? So you have a coffin corner, no post spacing, no maintenance. This is just so disrespectful. And I think what's ironic is here we have the roadside memorial. Here we have the roadside memorial, the individual down there. And our governor has a sign down here. Hey, Bill Lee, 615-741-2001. That's unacceptable. I mean, somebody died right here, and that's how we maintain it. And that's kind of like our governor can't even pick up his signs. And I mean, it's not. I'll tell you what. My friend Stuart in California, his daughter was killed in Tampa. She hit a double blunt end, and Florida DOT had moved the truck-mounted attenuators and left them exposed. And so we have been working with Governor Newsom and FDOT. We're making some progress, but a lot of problems. Some people are like, oh, it's all red problems. What's funny is when I do a story about Disney, they're like, you're just a right-wing nutter. You just hate Disney. And it's like, no, it's not red, it's not blue. But so Stuart lives in California, and we've been documenting, we just had 4 Marines killed when they ruptured through a guardrail that had been damaged for 6 years. And I call Governor Newsom's office, and what a bunch of oikophobic bigots. Just because I'm from Tennessee, they were just so disrespectful. And Stuart lives in California, and they're super disrespectful to him. And you cannot get further apart geographically or politically than California and Florida. They have these 2 pretty boy governors who just basically, when it comes to guardrail repairs, just like Governor Lee down there, they don't care. And it's not red or blue. It's not. I wish it was. I wish it was like all a Democrat problem, because I could make hay with that and get it fixed. Or all a Republican problem. Same thing. I could get it fixed. But it's a cultural problem. They don't value life. When you can have somebody die right here and leave that and have 70 some unbolted guardrails here, and then hundreds more that are loose, and then completely non-functional guardrail. I wish it was red or blue. I wish I could say, hey, just get a new governor, get rid of Bill Lee and no, it's culture, and they've got to want to do better than this. So anyways, I thank you for various people that have popped in and popped out of here. If you have any quick questions, I'll take those. But I'm going to just keep walking, and then I think I'm going to shut it off here in about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Any materials you can arm your viewers with. Yeah, so there's if you Google the Federal Highway Administration's, let me put it in the pin up. Let me do that a little bit later. But there are a couple resources. One from the National Cooperative Highway Research Program. One of the things I want to do is write my own. I don't really care for theirs, but it just is I'll cite theirs, because one of the things I've learned is if I say what I think, they will discredit it, But if I repeat what they've said, they can't discredit it. So I'll put that on there. It would be much better if they would compete to outdo and outperform each other rather than attacking each other. Yes. Cool, because I'm from Ohio and would love to hold my representatives' feet to the fire. Yeah, you have to. One of the things, I have no political connections, but somehow, yeah, I can just say it's the sovereignty of God. I mean, when I end up on a plane with 40 seats that I'm not scheduled to be on at a different airport and a different airline than I'm supposed to be on, and I end up sitting down with the chairman of the Committee on Highways for the United States Congress for an hour and a half on an airplane, that's just the sovereignty of God. But anyways, Congressman Duncan, he's since retired, told me, he said, you got to get to political leaders closest to the people. Your state representative, your state senator. It's Senator Becky Massey that's going to help me get all this fixed here. So, yes. This is true. The culture of people forgetting that their work they're doing is important. Isaac Schaefer Shorts. Hi, how you doing? That's God's will right there. Yeah, that's one of the things I have seen is just the things that I can't explain. When I walk into an event with the President of the United States and get escorted to the front of it by Secret Service without a ticket, when everyone else had a ticket, and get a letter on to Air Force One, that happened back in 2018. And then 2 weeks later, the president used those words in a cabinet meeting. When I get another president from another party to speak out during the State of the Union on Buy American guardrails, that is not me. But anyway, there's Thompson Bowling Arena, and thanks for walking with me. And I've learned some stuff. I hope you have. Again, any feedback would be greatly appreciated. I've got to figure out how to shut this thing off. But goodbye, everyone. Muffled again. I'm sorry. We'll talk to you later.